Welcome to the Benning Report. Coming up in this edition, honoring the 2014 Ranger Hall of Fame inductees.
And adding more realism in training for the battlefield.
Later, Gold Star families visit basic training.
Welcome to the Benning Report. I'm Nate Snook.
And I'm Melissa Bell with the Fort Benning Public Affairs Office. Thanks for watching. Since 1992, the Ranger Hall of Fame has been honoring extraordinary Rangers who have gone above and beyond the call of duty. Katie Cook brings us to this year's induction.
There was a lot to celebrate during the 22nd annual Ranger Hall of Fame ceremony, as 10 Rangers were inducted into the Ranger Hall of Fame for their contributions to the Ranger community. These men joined the Hall of Fame along with other Ranger inductees who have come before them.
This is a very humbling honor. There's only like 360-something Rangers throughout history, that's been added into the Ranger Hall of Fame. So this is a very, very humbling honor. But I'll say today, on my remarks, this ain't a me award. This is a we award. I didn't do nothing by myself. It was done with all the great Rangers I had the privilege and honor to serve with.
Each inductee is presented with a bronze medallion, signifying superiority, sacrifice, and the impeccable dedication to protecting its nation. For most, this induction wasn't for themselves, but for the men they've served with.
Now, this honor applies equally to all of my November Company Ranger brothers, some of whom are here today, who have fought with, bled with, and were lost fellow Rangers in combat, shed tears with.
Not only were fellow Rangers a major force behind these inductees' accomplishments, but a strong family support system allowed these inductees to lead a successful and fulfilling career.
I never had to worry about my family and home, knowing that Jill was at home taking care of everything. This allowed me to concentrate on what I love to do, and that was being a Ranger.
Each Ranger inductee has spent their life dedicated to living the Ranger Creed, and their contributions are something Rangers serving today can learn from.
I am a Ranger, and I'm proud of it, and will be to my dying day. To you young soldiers here, you've joined an honorable profession, a profession based upon special trust and confidence, and your lives depend on it, and never forget it.
Katie Cook, Fort Benning TV.
This time of year, managing the heat is a daily concern for soldiers in training. In this story, David Wright details some of the heat-related dangers and what precautions one Fort Benning unit is implementing to keep soldiers safe.
The warriors of Charlie Troop 515 Cavalry are climbing into Bradley's today for driving exercises, and they are doing so under the brutal summer skies of Fort Benning. The heat is the day's #1 enemy, demanding close adherence to work-rest ratio policies and water intake monitoring.
Most normal people in society are not used to drinking multiple quarts of water in a day. They drink sodas, they drink Monsters, they drink coffee all the time. When we come here, we push water.
But as crucial as water may be, there is actually a danger of overhydration. This can occur when water intake doubles or even triples Army guidelines.
You're drinking too much relative to what your body is producing. Your electrolytes, your enzymes. The water attacks your organs, the sugar in your body, it starts to deplete that. It's like taking water and squeezing it out of a balloon.
If this happens, a soldier will be in need of medical attention quickly. The key to avoiding overhydration is to make sure electrolytes and nutrients are being replaced at a safe rate.
From day one, we start talking about hydrating yourself, and hydration is not just about drinking water. It's also about putting the right foods in your body so that you have a good amount of salt and a good amount of things going into your body so that you can mitigate yourself from being a heat casualty.
The cadre of 515 Cav keep a close eye on this water bulb, hourly logging its readings of temperature, humidity, and heat index. When the heat reaches Category 5, warriors are instructed to modify their uniforms. They will roll their pants up above the boots and tuck in the cuffs of their sleeves. Both steps allow for better airflow while maintaining the uniform. Another measure made available is forearm immersion, in which soldiers may place their arms in ice water and pump their fists for 10 seconds. This sends cooled blood throughout their bodies.
I've watched a warrior go from about ready to quit and like leave the Army and everything. He did forearm immersion, and 10 minutes later, he was like, oh, I'm gonna shoot expert drill sergeant. Oh, I'm so motivated.
Ms. Carlson says Fort Benning models best practices in this area, with representatives from the Army observing how units at the Maneuver Center mitigate heat. David Wright, Fort Benning TV.
As Fort Benning displays excellence in maneuver capabilities, partnerships are being made with other centers across the Army to share their experience while working towards a common goal.
Fort Benning's Maneuver Captain's Career Course, known as MCCC, is aimed at preparing infantry and armor officers for the leadership, training, and administrative requirements of a maneuver commander and staff officer. With different centers of excellence bringing their own expertise to the course, instructors were exchanged between the maneuver and intelligence centers of excellence to better enhance officer education.
We're not trying to make maneuver officers intel officers. We're not trying to make intel officers maneuver officers. What we're trying to do is just create a common understanding so we can bring that level of discussion up initially when they get released to the force.
The focus on this exchange was the role and requirements of an S2 intel officer and how to better increase their understanding of how maneuver and intel can work together while addressing current trends.
The number one thing I wanted to share with Fort Huachuca and the Intel Center of Excellence were the very clear trends that I was seeing about where S2s, where intel officers are struggling with supporting maneuver commanders. And that was specific to tactics, to increasing the amount of tactics that was being taught, and then the application of tactics, not just for U.S. tactics, but also for opposing force or foreign army tactics. That and mental wargaming, or being able to see the battle in space and time.
And at the Maneuver Center, it was about addressing how to work together to utilize the many assets of intel and how S2 roles can assist in operations.
They have to understand the enemy. So an intel officer has to create the enemy picture for their commander, whether it's a battalion or brigade commander, and they have to be that intelligent, efficient, effective enemy that is going to push the S3 to make a plan that's going to beat that type of enemy. When you go to a unit, you're a member of a team, and if you're on their staff section, you have to help out that entire staff. You can't just sit in your AS3 role and completely ignore the S2. And if you can help that S2 out, then you'll be helping yourself out.
This exposure to each other's mission helps officers grow and expand their skill sets, gaining an understanding and appreciation for each other's roles to accomplish their missions more effectively. Plans are in process to include the other centers of excellence to participate in the instructor exchange program and have students able to collaborate between centers while working on projects. Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
Coming up next, the impact of reserve drill sergeants. For over 70 years, the 98th Training Division has a rich history of providing the Army with well-trained citizen soldiers. From occupational duty in World War II to today's reserve unit, the 98th continues to accomplish its mission of training soldiers capable of fulfilling any mission.
The 98th Training Division is no ordinary reserve unit. With over 150 companies spanning the region from Maine to Puerto Rico, this reserve unit puts forth some of the best trained and most versatile reserve drill sergeants that shape the future force.
All right, 2 eyes, you got to get that transition now.
Our pacing item is to produce drill sergeants and to make sure that they are trained and ready and able to fill in the blanks for the active duty.
50 right, 50 right.
Originating from Rochester, New York during World War I, this Iroquois division prides itself on a rich history from that region, as it now provides thousands of Army Reserve drill sergeants to the active duty force that cover down on basic training, initial entry training, combatives, and one-station unit training missions, keeping them up to standards with excellence in training.
50 right, 50 right.
When a reservist comes in for the drill weekend, we just don't want to be doing Army Reserve training. I want to get my soldiers out with the active duty and practicing what they do so we can maintain that high standards of effectiveness that the active duty requires.
All right, move the weapon to the side, get your sandbags ready.
Not only are these soldiers experts in training, but as a reservist, they keep civilian jobs as well. From nurses to lawyers and teachers to sheriffs, these soldiers bring a unique set of skills to the Army force, known as military occupational specialties.
Straight ahead.
So if you're a military policeman, you've got the military police MOS. But you could be a military policeman at an Army Reserve drill sergeant unit and also have had to go to drill sergeant school to get that identifier, because it's a separate skill and a separate identifier that may be maintained. So you're actually looking at a soldier that's got two skills.
Skills like these not only benefit troops at home station, they also allow the Army to accomplish its mission downrange while putting their expertise and training to use.
Good job, good job, good job.
Right now we have units that are in Afghanistan, and what they're doing there is they're helping train some of the military forces in Afghanistan, whether it be military police forces, whether it be logistical forces, whether it be infantry forces.
As the Army continues recruiting to meet its end strength goals, the 98th Training Division must keep pace as well, as these drill sergeants remain a vital part of the Army mission.
Good shot, good shot. Way to go get it, way to go get it.
Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
300, let's get it, let's get it.
Advanced situational awareness is a skill profiling human behavior, allowing soldiers to make a more informed decision on the battlefield. David Wright brings us a closer look at how Fort Benning improved training to keep soldiers situationally aware.
Advanced situational awareness involves the observation of human behavior to discern the details of any given tactical environment. Students are trained to perceive patterns in body language, geographics, atmospherics, and other realms in order to gain knowledge of key figures, tension levels, and probable targets.
They're having an argument right now.
Alright, now the Mullah's out arguing too.
Mullah's out arguing too with him?
So really what we're aiming for here is how to think in a predictive manner and see what's going to happen left of the bang is what we call it, instead of after something happens.
Today's exercise sees actors playing out a scenario in a simulated village on the far end of the field. It is left to the students to determine what that scenario is and where the threats will likely come from if asked to intervene.
All right, we got the black guy, red headdress right in front of the building that was flying the black flag.
Sighting on Volcano Top.
The majority of this training, I'd say 85 to 90%, is from the OPs. We have 4 observation posts out here and a talk. The observation posts go anywhere from 400 to 1,000 meters.
The Army has increased their commitment to situational awareness training this year by providing physical improvements to the ASA course. Where there was once just a handful of temporary structures, there is now a complete village.
We've added about roughly 30 additional buildings in improving the village to add to the cognitive realism that we have, to get the students in the frame of mind more that, hey, this isn't just some range that we're going to. We're watching this village take place in their daily life. We're watching it from a distance, and our brain very soon doesn't know the difference between it being fake and it's being real by the additions that we've made.
The new buildings were carefully laid out so to create different blind spots for each observation post. This requires students to effectively communicate between OPs in order to collectively clear the area.
We've also improved the actual observation posts. What we were used to using on the prone in the dirt, we used to observe from there. We've built up to 2 and even 3 stories to be able to change levels and change views to view from different places as well.
ASA Basic is a 5-day course totaling 50 hours, with students rotating in throughout the year. David Wright, Fort Benning TV.
After the break, Gold Star families will report for training, but first, Fort Benning's Picture This.
As the Army continues to support Gold Star families, the 198th Infantry Brigade set aside a day for family members to experience the excitement of Fort Benning's basic training.
Gold Star family members were invited to participate in a day of the life of a new recruit, thanks to the 198th Infantry Brigade. As part of one station unit training, wives, sisters, sons, and daughters had the opportunity to brave Eagle Tower, practice marksmanship skills, and enjoy the high-tech world of the Army. Some of the things their late soldier would have done.
This is absolutely amazing. I can't give my child this. And I think when you lose somebody in the Army, there's a hole in your heart because you can't give them rolling in the dirt, going down a rappel tower, and all this good stuff. So this is amazing. It gives my kid and myself a piece of my husband that I couldn't have before.
First up for this unique experience was a 40-foot rappel wall with A-frame stairs and a rope cargo net, where family members suited up and soon shared in the joy their soldier felt for the Army.
Whoa. You're good, buddy. You're good. I'm like, I'm slipping, and then I just do it, and then I'm fine, and then I just pounce off, and then I'm like, woohoo, and then I'm just done. It's quick if you already did it. Okay, here I go.
It's really neat, and like I've said to many people here today, I think Dak is now joining the Army. I think it's official. We're not going to get him away from it, and that's a good thing.
Every smile and every thrill from this day was a way for soldiers to thank these families for their sacrifice and show them that they will always be part of the Army family.
I think it's important to remember. It's truly important for us to remember the sacrifices that these families have made. It's to maintain that relationship and that commitment and that bond with them. We have a covenant with them, and we don't ever need to forget.
This is great, that bringing us back in and just experiencing this.
For any Gold Star families who haven't experienced the joy of this kind of training, the 198th hopes you can join them for similar events in the future. Melissa Bell, Fort Benning TV.
The lunch tables of Fort Benning offer a unique opportunity for those who speak or want to learn a different language. Katie Cook took a seat for a lunchtime chat.
For those who want to expand their second language or beginners who just need practice, the Maneuver Center of Excellence's Language Regional Expertise and Culture has a new method for retaining a second language. The program took a unique approach, creating a monthly language table as a way for soldiers to maintain language proficiency during lunch.
The language table is really important because it supports the LREC strategy, the Language Regional Expertise and Culture strategy, which says that our soldiers are to remain proficient. And so we're going to need to provide the resources necessary. And if we don't have them, we have each other. And we're going to act as facilitators and teachers to help one another.
All levels are welcome. For those who are just learning, the language table offers a casual but supportive environment where facilitators can offer one-on-one support. Advanced speakers are challenged with news articles and current cultural topics.
Language takes a lot of hard work, but it's totally worth it because when you know a second language, you actually open doors for yourself. You open doors to friendships and to a network of people that never was available to you before.
Fort Benning has a range of soldiers from different backgrounds. Learning and speaking a second language gives soldiers an opportunity to communicate with others when they haven't been able to in the past.
Our soldiers are going to meet international counterparts. They're going to be working in joint multinational interagency type operations. And when that happens, in order to show camaraderie and to show goodwill, demonstrating a second language goes a long way.
Participating in one of the 8 language tables offered helps build camaraderie among fellow soldiers.
The MCOE is moving towards forming this global community where we embrace diversity, we embrace other cultures, and we're demonstrating that through the language tables and otherwise. We're able to build unity in the community and show that we respect one another, we value one another.
More than 8 languages participate in the language tables and meet on a monthly basis. Katie Cook, Fort Benning TV.
Coming up next, spouses report for a day of Ranger training. strength of our soldiers is their family, and the heart of the family is the spouse. And rumor has it, Ranger spouses may be tougher than others. Sarah Tate is at the 4th Ranger Training Battalion to see just how tough. Sarah? Sarah?
That's right, I'm on Todd Field, and I, along with my GoPro and my handy cameraman and my team, are taking on this year's Darby Spouses Challenge. Let's go!
Our first event takes us to the infamous rock wall. The 60-foot vertical walkway into the clouds was definitely not for the weak-hearted. As families looked on,
good job, babe.
Some spouses faced their fear of heights and took on the challenge. For some, it was a slow process, but many were able to conquer. With arms nearly in muscle failure and adrenaline rushing, we move on to the rappel tower. And down below, the tower looks easy peasy. That is, until you step off.
There you go.
As I honed my rappelling skills, my teammates took on the grenade toss range. The day was not even halfway through, and it was already considered a bang amongst the families.
Why do you think it's important to have organizational days like this where, you know, the families and the soldiers come together?
It goes back to some of the other stuff where it gives soldiers time to spend with their families, as well as it brings kind of the unit closer together. You know, everyone gets to kind of just hang out together and just relax and still have a good time.
And the fun has just begun as my team moves on over to the Malvesti obstacle course.
There's something on my arm that is not mine.
Here, these physical enduring obstacles are surrounded in murky waters.
So what's exactly in that Malvesti water?
A lot of water and a lot of dirt. That's about it.
Having undergone this course, I'm not so sure. For more than 50 years, Malvesti has been the breeding ground of sweat, tears, and a whole lot of misery, thanks to Ranger training. Good thing for the spouses that their husbands knew how to prepare them.
Let's go, baby. Look at it. You're almost at the end. Let's go. Push it. Push it.
He really prepped me, told me it would be difficult, told me what materials to bring, and so I was ready for that. But until you really experience it, you firsthand, you're not able to see and know what they go through. So it was interesting to see what he went through and what his guys go through.
So, sir, as a Ranger instructor, how do you think my team of brawny babes did?
You guys did good, better than most. I'll have to say the teamwork over there on the horizontal ladder is not exactly authorized. It would not pass in Ranger school, but due to the nature of the event, it was good, it was fun, and glad you guys were able to conquer that obstacle.
Maybe next year, sir.
Maybe. Big maybe.
Sarah Tate, Fort Benning TV.
Some of those obstacles were pretty tough, but the camaraderie it builds is priceless.
What a fun way for their families to experience what their Rangers do every day. And that will bring this edition of the Benning Report to an end.
But you can watch these stories and others on youtube.com/BenningTV or at benning.army.mil.
You can also like us on Facebook.
From the Public Affairs Office, thanks for watching.